Hello and welcome to Steve and Dave's 50 years ago this month. This time around, we're talking about Billboard Hot 100 of October 18th, 1975. Steve, what's at the top?
Well, the unlikely comeback of one Neil Sedaka continues. Neil Sedaka, who is he makes he's as square as they come, and that's fine. He never Neil Sedaka was always Neil Sedaka. I mean, to his credit, right?
Oh, absolutely.
He
I
didn't
think
he
so.
didn't present himself in any other way.
And I think
Um,
we needed Neil Sedaka. So
okay, well,
I,
okay,
I would argue we needed a Neil Sedaka.
all right. Well, and Neil Sedaka would argue that as well. But it is the case, right, that at the top of the charts, it's Bad Blood, which is which is just awesome. And
It's
part
just
of what,
awesome, and it's as little Neil Sedaka as you are ever going to get with him.
well, I think that's true. It's a song that's very much influenced by Elton John, and Neil Sedaka has hitched his wagon to Elton John's Rocket Record Company. This is how Sedaka's records are being released in the United States, and they are birds of a feather of a sort, and working together in the studio. It's Elton John, who is uncredited, but it's unmistakable on the background vocals, paired with Sedaka on the chorus. And this song really cooks.
Oh man.
It part of the but part of what makes the song so interesting and so funky is the work of the hitman, David Foster, who was on keyboards, particularly on the clavinet, just wearing the clavinet out. It's terrific. You've got Steve Cropper, Dean Parks on guitar. You've got Lee Sklar on bass, Nigel Olsson on drums, Elton John's longtime drummer. I mean, you just got, it's an A-list working behind Sedaka. This is a song that was penned by Sedaka and his longtime writing partner, Phil Cody. This is from the album.
Before they no longer were.
Yeah, well, things happen.
Really shortly before they no longer were.
Yeah, and maybe it's no surprise that we don't hear much from Neil Sedaka again on the pop charts. Um, I think that there's something to that. Sedaka, of course, had three number ones in his career. Early on, it was Breaking Up Is Hard to Do in 62. We talked about Laughter in the Rain, his number one smash from 1974, and then it's Bad Blood. And Neil Sedaka, still with us, is a really interesting figure who dates back, of course, to the earliest days of pop music in the Brill Building. He's one of the originals. But there is this moment in the 70s where he kind of breaks out from that mold in a sense. And this song is just, well, it's superb.
It
You got a
is.
couple thoughts about this?
Well, I think just to agree with everything you said, it is superb and it represents a breakout from his, let's say, his normal image, his normal
Yeah, I think
style.
that's the
Um, but it's, yeah, I like Neil Sedaka. I like most of his songs. This is clearly my favorite.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I would agree. And so let's listen to cut from Bad Blood, 1975.
Could have been me, but it was you who went and bit off a little bit more than he could chew. You said you had it made, but you've been had. The woman no good, no how. I'm thinking maybe the blood is bad. Bad blood. The woman was born to lie, make promises she can't keep with the wink of an eye.
We get a real sense of that there. I agree with you, Dave. This is peak Neil Sedaka, and for my money, it's one of the best songs in the 70s. There's
It's,
just
yeah,
there's just some it's just something about it. It's just that's terrific. And so,
There's a
wow.
scene from the 70s show where Eric and his mom are driving back from her work together in the car, and this comes on the radio, and they just start singing it together.
Well,
It's one of those fun 70s show moments.
it the it has, I mean, the chorus just works. It's just, well,
Yeah.
there's a hint of misogyny, just a hint, but that's the spice of the 70s, it seems. And so at number one in mid-October 75, it's Neil Sedaka's Bad Blood. At number two, then we've got well, John Denver with I'm
You always,
Sorry.
boy, just the way you say his name is just so like, John Denver. Come on, man. He was he was an important figure for pop music.
I wouldn't dispute that. And I think that there's plenty to suggest that John Denver is one of the most interesting singer-songwriters of the decade. This song ain't it. And so at number two, we got I'm Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
At number three, we've got the group from San Francisco. They have morphed into Jefferson Starship,
We built this
and
city.
yeah, well, soon they will, right? Um, Marconi plays the Mamba. Listen to the radio. The It's at number three. It's Miracles from the Starship.
Yeah. And this was from their second Starship album,
Right.
Red Octopus. Airplane had 10 albums before
Yeah.
that, of course. So released on Grunt Records, and Grunt was a vanity label
Great
formed
name.
in
Yeah.
1971 by the Airplane, distributed by RCA. And it was initially created. The idea was, okay, let's promote our Bay City, our Bay Area
Right.
acts, but
Right.
in the end, it was just basically a house label for Starship
It,
and
it
not too
largely
much.
was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there were big hopes for it, but it just, yeah, it never really evolved past the Starship. I think
And
that's
the
right.
label ended after Grace Slick left Starship in
Right.
87. So, anyway, it's certified double platinum. It's the best-selling album of any of the Jefferson
Yeah.
incarnations, which surprises me. I think Surrealistic Pillow, you have White Rabbit on that, you have Somebody to Love. Why would that not be their absolute? I mean, it was incredibly popular, no question about it. But this is the best-selling album, as I said.
Cuts a wider swath, I think. But
It
yeah,
does
I mean,
it
I hear
does.
you. I hear you. Yeah.
But that was largely also on the strength of this single, Miracles,
Oh,
uh,
massive song. Yeah.
which was also the highest charting single of any of the songs that they'd done, and would be until we built this city a decade later.
Okay.
Um, and it peaked where it's at right now, number three.
Right.
The album itself reached number one for 4 weeks on Billboard 200, and as was common in that era, there were stereo and quadraphonic mixes of the album that were released. Um,
Yeah, depending on your system, right? It was yeah, there was what you were hoping to achieve in
yeah,
your
so
in
that
your
was
bedroom or den. Right.
happening a lot. Of course, Marty Balin was the writer, and he had just recently come back into the fold.
Yeah. It's
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, he's an interesting guy. The Starship has this. Okay, so you have Balin in and out. You've got Grace Slick kind of in and out. You've got Papa John Creech who's in, but then will soon be out. I mean, so there's a kind of cast of characters switch drummers at one point, but Balin's, I think, sort of unsung here in the group, but he's an excellent songwriter and a tremendous vocalist, and this is his baby.
Well, the first Starship album, Dragonfly, had also been a considerable success. It went gold.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, and it kind of they had gone through kind of a fallow period. Um,
I think that's
in
fair. Yeah.
the late airplane era, and then they became the Starship, came out with Dragonfly, and that reestablished them as a force. And so they had mounted a successful tour behind that album, Fall of
Hmm.
'74. And when the tour reached San Francisco Winterland Ballroom, November 24th,
Jeez. Yeah.
Balin joined them on stage for an encore, and including Somebody to Love and Volunteers. And it was warmly received. So
Yeah. I mean, he was, yeah, yeah.
he just came back in, right?
Yeah.
He had left because of some drug problems. The death of Janis Joplin kind of shocked him into realizing that his uh, lifestyle at that point was probably a dead end street.
I
Uh,
think that's right. Yeah.
but the other band members were, well, that's the Jefferson Airplane. You're doing drugs, right? So that was one of the reasons for him to leave. But he did come back, and what a comeback, right? This was it kind of redefined the direction that they were going to go in
Oh, I
uh,
totally agree.
through the
Yeah.
70s. And
Yeah, totally agree. And sorry to jump in. I do think that it's a kind of recreation, right? I mean, that if you read the trades, if you read the Rolling Stone in the mid 1970s, the critics had it in for the Jefferson Starship. They see it as a completely kind of it's a cash grab that Paul Katner and Grace Slick in particular um, were discouraged by that fallow period you mentioned, and so the money's in is in pop music, and so I would suggest that there's a transformation, but there's also a kind of rebirth. I think that comparatively few Jefferson Airplane fans followed their Starship. They picked up new fans, and
yes,
I think Red Octopus is evidence of that. That this is it's a kind of new band in a way
I
with
mean you
familiar
still had
faces.
you still had your Balin Slick loyalists, I think, but I think there was also a real ambivalence on the part of the airplane fans
Oh, total diff.
that
Yeah.
that Grace Slick also internalized. She
Yes,
she
I
was
think
all
that's right.
about all about this making some money and getting back in the charts, but there was always this
I think
cynical, oh, but yeah, this isn't the real
yes.
thing.
Yeah, I think it was palpable, Dave.
Yeah.
It was palpable, and I think
And you
that
listen to interviews and stuff, and it
oh
was
yeah,
always undermining what was going on in Starship.
it's hard to so as this is a really it's a strong song. I think it's quite a strong album, and they are going to churn out the hits right in the '70s into the early '80s.
Much more than
But
I was
there's
aware of in retrospect. I
oh
thought, oh,
way
yes.
more popular than the Airplane ever hoped to be, right? But you have people like Slick undermining it, sort of casting dispersions even upon their own success. It's hard not to it's hard not to sort of feel that a little bit. Like this, it does feel like a kind of cash grabs may be overstated, but it is, well, the commercialization of the airplane or something. I don't, yeah,
But
it's,
but listening to this song, there's just still a really interesting interplay of the vocal
oh, I agree.
the
Oh,
vocals.
I totally agree.
It's
Yeah.
it's good stuff, and it was also
And kind of adventurous, kind of.
and there were plenty of really positive critiques.
Yeah, there
Um,
were. There were. Yeah.
just one thing about this, in order to secure more radio airplay, as we said, is now the point of the whole thing. Um, they cut the album version, which was 6 minutes and 52 seconds long, just almost exactly in half to 3 minutes and 25 seconds. All right. And the edit wasn't only done for length, but there was
Yeah.
also a very explicit sexual line in the original. I had a taste of the real world when I went down on you, girl.
Mhm.
That got cut.
Yeah, that got cut. Not particularly
Um,
subtle, right?
you would suggest that there was enough
Oh, I definitely would suggest there's enough there.
explicit elements that anybody who's listened carefully knows what.
This is okay. So this is the kind of thing that back in the day, in addition to your Cream magazine and your Rolling Stone and Circus, there would be magazines that would sell that would be lyrics magazines, because if the lyrics appeared on the album sheet or on the album cover or the sleeve, you would be fine. But a lot of groups did, and so if you buy these lyric magazines and just perusing that for Miracles, it's pretty clear that this is a very, we'll say, erotic song. Unusual. I mean, not unusual for the time, but the explicit nature of it, I think, it's quite
Yeah,
out there.
and the song was inspired in part by
Careful.
this guru, uh,
Of course,
Satya Sai Baba,
there's
who was
always a guru.
uh, claimed to work miracles. So a very literal reference there, but it
And
was
let me
also
show you
inspired.
how.
Yes, it was
Oh my
also inspired by the love
good,
affair that Balin was in at the moment,
good grief. Yeah. Well,
um,
right.
which allows you to write love ballads in a non-cynical way. Well, let's just talk a little bit about the reception of the
All
single.
right. Buckle
Um,
up.
Jeff Tamarkin wrote, Cox nailed the production. Larry Cox, by the way, was the producer.
Hmm.
He nailed the production. There wasn't a wasted, out of place note. Strings glisten, the keyboard sound is contemporary,
Oh yeah.
and Grace and Paul's harmonies are relatively traditional. Freiberg came up with a memorable signature organ riff that opens the song,
Totally agree.
and Craig with a fresh supply of delicious guitar sounds. Marty is at his most open, crooning his words of love like he hasn't in years. Without a hint of irony or awkwardness, he uses the word baby at least 25 times. End quote.
Nothing ironic about the use of baby here.
No use of, no ironic use, right?
Oh
So,
God. Yeah.
and there were other.
Yeah.
Cashbox said, quote, a fine, well orchestrated love ballad in the airplane tradition. Some of their most appealing, well produced material in years. End quote.
Well, I have to. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's a fine sounding record. I mean, it's a fine sounding record. And again, I would stand behind the notion it is a bit adventurous. It is as if this is really peak Starship from my mind. I mean, just in terms of um, the harmonies in particular. I mean, it's just really well done.
Dave Marsh and James Bernard listed Miracles among the quote in their book, the best songs to pass the censor.
Well, I mean, ding, ding, ding. I mean,
And
totally agree. I mean, it's
so this
out
was
there.
listed as the most off-color line in the LP version of a number one hit. I had a taste of the
Oh,
world.
yeah, it's just, yeah, yeah. This is, I mean, absolutely. I mean,
Again, it
it's,
wasn't a number one hit, but it got close.
oh,
So
it's remarkably popular, and it's still, I mean, in terms of sort of oldies radio and this kind of thing, it's again, it's one of the songs from the era that as soon as you hear the Freiberg riff, which is excellent. It's yeah, I mean, you can tell it's the Jefferson Starship, and Marty Ballin's is he never really sounds better than he does here. I mean, it's just magnificent voice.
in 1998, Balin received a plaque from the Broadcast Music Incorporated um, that recognized that Miracles had achieved 2 million performances. Oh, it takes a while to get 2 million performances on your.
Well, and so this right, and so this leaves White Rabbit and Somebody to Love and all that. It leaves it in the dust. I mean, it's clear that radio warmed to the Starship in ways that they never completely did to the airplane.
And William Ruhlman wrote,
Oh, from allmusic.com. Yes.
yes, this must have been sweet vindication for Balin, who founded Jefferson Airplane but then drifted away from the group as it veered away from his musical vision. Now the collective was incorporating his taste without quite integrating it.
Well, yes, he lost the band to Slick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Katner and Balin started it. They had, I guess, Sin Anderson was the original vocalist.
Right.
Then she leaves. Slick comes on board. Slick is a big personality. I
And she
mean,
brought she brought White Rabbit with her, right? I mean, that
she
was
did from the Great Society. That's exactly right.
yeah,
And so I mean, and I'm not. I mean, she has remarkable talent, and she did the impossible. She fronted a rock band. It's a guys' club in the 60s, for God's sake. She did the impossible, but it really squeezed him out. There's much doubt about it.
yeah. And you mentioned Rolling Stone. They're talking about miracles. Uh, the with miracles, the band began shifting toward schmaltz.
Yeah,
Helen now sounded like a lounge singer.
I think that's unfair.
I
But
think that's a little bit, yeah,
Rolling Stone, right? Rolling Stone, I mean, they started with these. I mean, Rolling Stone starts in San Francisco. They are they're pals. They're
yeah,
hanging out together.
yeah,
And at some point, right? I mean, Rolling Stone moves to New York, and the Jefferson Starship become more commercial. And uh, Rolling Stone never really gets over it. They just pound the Starship throughout the 70s. The Starship can do no right in the eyes of Rolling Stone. This is relentless.
yeah. Well, let's take a listen in.
Let's
See
do
what
it.
we're talking about here.
If only you believe like I believe, baby, like I believe, we get by. If only you believe, if only you believe in miracles, so would I. If only you believe like I believe, baby, like I believe, we get by. If only you believe in miracles, so would I.
Oh, there we go. We get a little taste of that there. It's amazing. I think it's an incredible vocal,
Yeah,
and
it is.
I think it's Ballin his best. And so there we have it at number three, Jefferson Starship with Miracles. Well, it's back in the day. The members of the Eagles had lots of time on their hands. They would spend hours hanging out at the Troubadour and at another watering hole down the street, a place called Dan Tana's, just for hours at a time. Just shooting the shit and just hour upon hour. So plenty of time to observe. And apparently, on one of the nights, Glenn Fry observed an incident in Dantana's, and he was inspired to write Lyin Eyes. So at number four, you've got the Eagles with one of their monster hits, Lyin Eyes, which is penned by Henley and Fry. Again, Glenn Fry sings lead and is responsible kind of for the origin of the song. And he overheard then this phrase, Lyin Eyes, and basically grabbed the old cocktail napkin, the story, and Fry and the others at the table, were just sort of making notes here about what they were observing, and suddenly a song sort of spilled out in front of them. It comes from the One of These Nights LP, and this is I would argue really kind of peak Eagles,
Oh,
and it really
that's great.
and
It's a
it
great
speaks
story.
and it speaks, yeah, it speaks to the Eagles that Glenn John saw back in London as a kind of country soft rock vocal group. And while the fellows were not content with that, felt a little bit sort of hemmed in by that, this is where they're the best. And I know that we maybe see this a little bit differently, but this is a
Oh,
terrific
it's
song.
undoubtedly one of their strengths is that this is something that they do incredibly well.
Well,
It's just
no,
not
but
the
yeah,
only thing
right.
that they do well. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, and I would say that they do this better than they do the other thing, but the vocal harmonies here are spot on. It is so it peaks at number two on the pop charts. It peaks at
And
number three.
one of the things about the Eagles that
Oh,
also
okay.
distinguishes them as songwriting force is the intelligence of their lyrics. I think they
Oh, I
write
totally agree. Yeah.
incredibly intelligent, insightful lyrics,
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
and this is one example of that, I think.
Yeah, it is. There are precious few kind of stupid, silly, inane Eagles songs. I mean, they're
Joe Walsh came in,
insightful.
and there were a few then, but
Well, okay. I
that's
mean,
kind
and
of his trademark.
that's kind of that. Yeah, that's Joe Walsh's lane. There's no doubt about that. But it is the case that yeah, it's a vignette, right? In many of their songs, I think this one is a bit of like a short story.
Yeah.
There's a literary quality to it that's really remarkable. The other thing about this is that it does make it to the country charts, not just to the country charts, but the country top 10. And so while we don't think about the Eagles necessarily as a kind of country band, they had a lot of fans in country. And in fact, it was their country fans who helped to breathe life back into the Eagles after they broke up in the early 80s. Uh, Really, it was a kind of groundswell from country music that pulled the Eagles back together in the mid 90s in the Hell Freezes Over
Yeah.
sessions. Oh yeah, it's pretty clear. People like Vince Gill and Travis Tritt in particular reached out to the Eagles, and yeah, and it worked for them. I would just add, this is the Eagles with it's still the five-member group of Fry Henley, Bernie Ledden, Randy Meisner, and Don Feldner. Ledden will leave, or well, has left by this point in the summer of '75, and he will, of course, be replaced by one Joe Walsh. Also, you've got Jim Ed Norman on piano here, and Norman was a arranger for Asylum Records and wrote string parts and was a constant presence in the studio. And so it's not often that the Eagles have a lot of session help, but Norman does make a significant contribution. And so I think, well, we should listen to a little bit of Lion Eyes.
You can't hide your lion eyes, and your smile is a thin disguise. I thought by now you'd realize there ain't no way to hide your lion eyes.
Yeah, this is Peak Eagles, my book, Lion Eyes at number 4. I've been waiting for this next song for years. I know that you have a soft spot for this group, and it's finally come around. And so it's mid-October 1975, and at number 5, it's Ballroom Blitz
Ballroom
from
Blitz.
Sweet.
Sweet. Yeah.
Sweet.
Most retrospects of the 70s give the Sweet way too little credit. They were incredible. They had a run of several years um,
Well,
where they were just fantastic.
okay, so yeah, and I agree. So why is that, Dave? So why are they so underappreciated and I think even dismissed? And I don't think that you're overstating it. Why is that?
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think in part, okay, I do think in part it's image, and so they presented themselves as a kind of glam pop band,
Glam rock, yeah.
and glam never really got the kind of traction in the United States that it got in the UK. It was always seen something it was viewed askance by many people. Okay, the other thing I think is
But
that the
you
Sweet,
still have your David Bowies and your Elton Johns that um, uh,
well,
became huge international stars
okay, but we're not comparing this Sweet with Elton John or David Bowie. I get it. I mean, you're right. They clearly had glam characteristics, although I think in both Bowie and Elton John's case, they moved beyond glam very quickly.
well, look at
But
T-Rex, all right? I mean,
oh well,
that's also a group that is never forgotten in your
Well,
70s.
it's never forgotten, and it's never forgotten for the one song. I mean, I think that Sweet gets more. I think Sweet is held in higher esteem than T-Rex, at least in the U.S.
It's
But
not,
okay,
it's not my impression, but all right.
okay, but I also think that Sweet would have benefited from successful tours in the United States. That they were typically presented on television, miming their songs. I don't know what kind of live band they were, but had they, I don't know if they ever had a chance to really kind of conquer America on the tour circuit. I definitely think they were seen as a manufactured band, and maybe unfairly. But you're right. I mean, they're definitely dismissed, but they have a string of hits, and you know this better than I do. They also have some deep cuts that are really really interesting. But I mean, but Ballroom Blitz is peak Sweet and combines so many of the camp elements that, well, it's
Yes,
so charming and
it
also
is.
kind of awesome.
Yeah, I think charming is a good word for it. But this was released first as a single. It was recorded 11th and 12th of June 1973 at the Audio International Studio in London,
Oh, oh, okay.
and it was released in September 73.
Hmm.
Appeared then on the US version of Desolation Boulevard, their third studio album. Now, there were two noticeably different versions of Desolation Boulevard
Okay.
depending on where you are at in the world. One was by RCA Records in Europe, and that was released on November 15th, 1974. And Capitol Records released the other one in the United States, Canada, and Japan. And it's the RCA version um, that does not contain Ballroom Blitz. It contains Turn It Down and the original recording of Fox on the Run. But when the
Do you have, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Capitol version came out in May 1975 and included then Ballroom Blitz. They took the single and put that on the album.
Okay.
And that the album peaked at number 25 on October 25th, 1975. And to me, you have two singles like the Ballroom Blitz and Fox on the Run. And I don't know why your album doesn't get any higher than number 25. Um,
I, I I totally agree. We both bought albums for far less,
yes, yeah,
you know. But
exactly.
yeah, I mean, those are two killer songs.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the writers and producer because
Hmm.
this team is responsible for most of Sweet's success in the early 70s. The writers were Nicky Chin and Mike Chapman,
Well, this Chin and Chapman, yeah,
and
famous,
uh,
if not
they
notorious.
they wrote, like I said, most of the hits
Def
from the early years, including Coco, Little Willie, loved Little Willie, Wig Wham Bam. Some of these are songs that the British audience would recognize quicker than
yeah,
Americans.
sure.
But Blockbuster, Ballroom Blitz, Teenage Rampage, things like this. So um, their Ballroom Blitz entered the UK singles chart at number 2, which gives you an idea of how big Sweet already was in 1973.
Yeah.
And Little Willie and Ballroom Blitz, they both went on to be top 5 hits in America.
Hmm.
Um, Chin and Chapman stopped working with Sweet in 1975, but they went on to work with Susie Quattro,
Oh yeah.
including stuff like Can the Can and Smokey with Living Next Door to Alice is
Hmm.
theirs. And then, of course, Susie Quattro with Smokey's lead singer Chris Norman,
Oh,
Stumbling In. Stumbling In
stumbling in.
was also theirs. And just
That's
a one-off with Exile, Kiss You All Over.
yeah.
That
I
was
mean, I think
their first
huge.
number one in the United States was with
Yeah,
Exile.
it's yeah, in Exile. will have huge success as a country act. But yeah, this Kiss You All Over was their pop debut. Chin and Chapman are I think this kind of works against Sweet because Chin and Chapman were considered kind of a bubblegum duo, but they did have remarkable success and they worked with lots of people. And I think you can, I mean, they're kind of Backrack and David of 70s pop. They're just kind
Well,
of everywhere.
and even into the 80s with like Mickey by Tony Basil.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was their second American number one. And then they had top 10 hits with Tina Turner, Better Be Good to Me, and Huey Lewis, Heart and Soul.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
It's just,
I
those
mean,
are
I'm
some great
right. I
songs, right?
mean, and it's yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, totally agree.
They finally split up as a songwriting duo in 1983.
Well, all
But
good things must come to an end, but yeah,
but
it's
they were recipients of three Ivor Novello Awards, including the Jimmy Kennedy Award for Outstanding Career Achievement
yeah,
that they got in
hard
1996.
to argue. I mean, it's yeah, they were
Yes,
remarkably prolific. And in terms of sort of UK chart success, I don't think anybody really approaches them in that era. I mean, they're just grinding out the hits.
yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
The producer was Phil Wainman, uh, and Wainman was already working as a music producer and a songwriter when he was introduced to a little Middlesex-based pop group, The Sweet Shop.
Yeah, here we go.
And he produced their first single before they changed their name to Just Sweet. But it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
He came back together with Sweet, um, who was came to him and said, "Hey, do you have any songs for us?" And he had already met Chin and Chapman, who were looking for people to record their songs. So it was those three parties came together, and it was 4 years of just really hit production, one after
Well,
the other.
and like you're suggesting, the Sweet was they were plenty big in the United States, but they were massive in the UK and really across Western Europe. But in particularly, I mean, just humongous. Yeah.
He also worked with Bay City Rollers then later, but his greatest chart success
Uh-oh.
was
What's
with
that?
Boomtown Rats. I Don't Like Mondays.
How is that his greatest chart success?
I Don't Like Mondays was huge. I mean, it was
It was big. It was okay.
it was
It,
really
it
big.
was it bigger than the stuff he'd recorded that he worked with the Sweet on?
Apparently, apparently, I think I Don't Like Mondays went to number one. I don't
Well,
think
not.
any,
I mean, the U. Oh, okay.
I don't think any Sweet song did. Um, so
It didn't go to number one in the U.S.
it went to number one in Canada, number two in the UK and Australia. But
It was.
it peaked at number five at the on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100.
Oh, there's no way that's true. Sorry.
Well,
This
this
is,
song, uh,
I don't like Mondays is not a top 10 song in the United States.
oh, all right, we'll check it out. We'll check it out, and
It's
then
just
we'll put that in our notes. I think it went to number one.
it did not go to number one in the United States. No.
Well, if you're sure about that, then
I am
I'm sure you're right.
I am positive this is the case.
And I don't know why, but my information is that it was his greatest chart success.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, this is okay. This is it's just us going back and forth. Uh, I mean, we'll get to that at some point. That is a very peculiar song,
yes,
a very dark incident.
very dark.
That
By the
is,
way, speaking of incidents,
oh
Ballroom
God,
Blitz was actually inspired by an incident that took place on January 27th in 1973. Um,
really?
the band was performing at the Grand Hall in Kilmarnock, Scotland, and they were driven off stage by a bottling.
That's interesting. You always sort of wonder. I did have any idea because it does seem like it's born from something very specific.
Yeah,
You know, God,
it's the lyrics would not suggest that
no, no,
this
you're
was
right.
an incident of bottling,
No,
but
you're right. But
a chaotic, potentially dangerous situation for a rock band.
What we're gonna listen to this in a second, but what is it about that you are as big a Sweet fan as I've ever met? And so I'm just kind of curious why that is. What is it about this group um, that you have always found so appealing?
I think I think they're fun. I think
But they are fun.
they have a just
They are
an
fun.
upbeat uh, type of drive to most of their songs. Um, and there's enough variety that makes it interesting. Love is like oxygen. Wow. It's just
Yeah, that's very
fantastic.
unsweet though.
And
Yeah, it's
it's so different than Little Willie, which is different than Fox on the Run. And they're all good. You know, I can't think of a whole lot of pop groups that have produced more songs than I really enjoy listening to.
well, they're definitely. I mean, they do. You when you talk about fun and a kind of carefree nature, there is something to that. I mean, love is like oxygen. It's a little bit of an outlier. It's almost kind of proggy, but I mean, like Little Willie and the American hits in particular are just like wow, just kind of joyous,
Yeah.
just
So
kind of joyous. Yeah, no, that's cool. Um, should we listen to a little
let's
bit of it?
listen in.
All
Sure.
right, here we go. It is Sweets Ballroom Blitz.
Reaching out for something, touching nothing's all I ever do. Oh, I softly call you over when you appear. There's nothing left in you. Now the man in the back is ready to crack as he raises his hands to the sky. And the girl in the corner is everyone's corner. She could kill you with a wink of her eye. Oh, yeah, it was electric, sopranically hectic. And the band started leaving, 'cause they all stopped breathing.
Oh, we could do this. We could do all this all day.
Oh, yeah.
There is, I mean, the camp quality here is just, well, it's so over the top. It's just kind of hard to, yeah, hard to imagine anything else. And this is a complete accident, but you could imagine a song like this appearing in Rocky Horror, which was debuting at roughly the same time in the fall of 1975. And it
Yes.
always struck me as, um, anyway, that they come from a kind of similar wellspring in an odd sort of way. But man, that's
Well, that's interesting. Interesting association. Where it did play a large role was in Wayne's World. Uh, this was a song that their group played, and
huh.
it
I
was yeah,
you,
it played a large role for what it's worth.
I have to say that Wayne's World, I know it from the Saturday Night Live skits. I don't think I've ever watched the entire. I know. I guess there's two movies. I don't.
it's
I've never seen them. I've
it's
seen the
entertaining.
some. Okay.
It's fun. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the Sweet. What's not to love? Ballroom Blitz, Peak Suite at number 5.
indeed.
Um, at number 6, it's Orleans with a kind of tidy little pop song, "Dance with Me." Orleans, four-member group headed by John Hall. Hall and his wife, the then wife Joanna, penned this, and "Dance with Me" is one of a handful of hits that Orleans had in the 1970s. I guess I always thought of the band as maybe being a little bit more popular than apparently they were. They only had two top 10 hits, "Dance with Me," this one, 75, and next year they will have something called "Still the One." And then 1979, they got it broke into the top 20 with "Love Takes Time." It's a pretty slim resume, but it's I think there's a lot of affection for this group, or at least this song. It was a kind of triumph for Orleans because they had flooded the song to ABC Records. They largely dismissed it. They moved over to the Asylum label, and Asylum pushed it pretty hard. And it was a productive kind of marriage between Orleans and Asylum. The song is also highlighted by a solo on the melodica, which is it's an instrument that is it has a reed, but it also has a small kind of keyboard. Sometimes it's called a hooter, and there was a band in the in the 80s called the Hooters that featured the melodica at several points along the way. One of the things I really like about this song is that it is comes in at a crisp 3 minutes. It is, I mean, in that way, it's a kind of carefully some people might say contrived, but I think it's carefully constructed and with a real eye toward or ear toward radio. There is something about this song in particular that was very radio friendly, and it takes you on a kind of journey, and that journey ends relatively quickly. And so it is one of those songs that kind of stays with you. So I think we should just take a
Isn't Orleans at least part of what became of King Harvest? I
there is a member,
a member, okay, a member of
a
Orleans.
member is it maybe two member? I can, yes, there is a link.
There's a link there somewhere.
And we'll explore that in the show notes. I don't have that in my notes here, but I definitely remember this in our conversation. We talked about King Harvest. And yeah, I don't know if it was the Hoppin brothers or if it was Kelly, Wells Kelly. Can't remember. But well, yeah, but there is a link there for sure. Let's take a listen to Dance with Me, and I think you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about in terms of sort of the construction of the song. There's a real precision to it that I think is which I find kind of charming. And so here we go.
Dance with me. I want to be your partner. Can't you see? The music is just starting. Night is calling, and I am falling. Dance with me. Fantasy could never be so killing. I feel free. I hope that you are willing. Pick the beat up and kick your feet up. Dance with me.
Yeah, there we go. Now, what's not to like?
That's a real appealing sound.
It's a real appealing sound. Yeah, I don't have a doubt about that. And so there we have Orleans at number 6 with Dance with Me. And this is where it would peak in the fall of 75. So at number 7, I know nothing about this artist. I remember this song vividly. It is one of those songs that has lived on and that everybody knows a little bit and can butcher almost, just at a drop of a hat. It's Morris Albert's Feelings.
Yeah. This is one of those songs that some people love and that some people
Yeah,
love to hate. Um, it seems to really get a lot of strong feelings on one end of
I
the spectrum or the other.
I think that's right. Yeah, nobody's on the fence with feelings.
Now, and this was written by Albert, um, based on what did he call it? A platonic attraction um, to a woman uh, that is still, quote, a public figure to this day, uh, a platonic attraction for a, quote, beautiful 30-year-old carioca, end quote, who is
Hmm.
still something of, I guess, something of a
I
public figure in,
I don't know what you're talking about, but but I'm intrigued. So there's a mysterious figure who's still with us, apparently.
uh, in what is it? Brazil, right?
Okay.
Still a public figure in Brazil. That he was in love with, but it was platonic. Apparently, the love was kind of one-sided.
Okay. Well, I
But
yeah,
the song is
yeah.
about trying to trying to lose feelings that for a love that is no longer there.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's so okay. So to answer the unasked question of which side of the fence I'm on, I've always sort of been drawn to this a little bit. This song, it's schmaltzy as hell, but there is something about that is I don't know. It does seem there's a sort of genuineness to it. I do think it's a pretty strong performance. And I can imagine feelings in the hands of a less nuanced singer than Morris Albert being really a train wreck. But I think he pulls it off. I
Well,
think he pulls it off.
it's been covered by everybody and their dog.
Oh, my Lord,
Just
yes.
unreal. I'll talk about that in just a second. Um, but the thing that surprised me about this is this song peaked at number 6 on the Hot 100, but it was
Yeah.
it seemed like you heard it for the entire year. It was you would turn on
Oh,
the
oh,
radio
it
and
was
Feelings
everywhere.
would be playing. But that's to be explained by the fact that it was in the Hot 100 for 32 weeks.
Um,
So it
this
was it was around for a long
this
time.
is as we've talked about, this is one of those songs that parents that older people appreciated, right? I
Yes.
mean,
And
it
it
seems to
peaked at number
seems to
2 on the
skew
adult
older.
contemporary chart.
Well, of course it did, right? Of course it did. I mean, this is one of those songs that really speaks to. There's a kind of vintage quality to it, and so I mean, yeah, I mean, it was. But you're right, it
It
was
went
on
platinum
the
in
radio.
Canada. In total, around 10 million copies of Feelings were sold worldwide.
Well,
3 million in the United States and 300,000 in Brazil. Uh, Albert was not exactly a one-hit wonder, but
hmm.
all of his hits came off of the debut album After We've Left Each Other. Um,
So
so
he charted
he
other
did chart
songs.
again. Yeah, he charted. He had a couple of the other songs, "Falling Tears," "Sweet Loving Man." These were not. These did well in other countries, but yeah, he was. Feelings was not his only success, and he
Hmm.
received a award from the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, the Gold Shield Award. Um, Annually for 17 consecutive times for Feelings being the most played song in the world.
But
Wow.
what?
Yes,
That's how
17 years in a row.
what? How how is feelings? How does feelings beat out a Beatles song like something or God any
Or
really
Yesterday
or
or
yesterday
something like
feelings?
that. Yes.
Well, I do think that there is. I mean, I do think that this song is it's schmaltzy as hell, but I do think it is affecting, and I do think that people it does open up people in a way that's kind of interesting.
The
Hmm.
the instrumental
Wow,
bass
that's
for
unbelievable.
Feelings was created by the group Os Carbonos, who Albert asked, he said, doesn't wanted nothing heavy. It's a romantic song, so we're just going to just keep it a light romanticism. So that group included only piano, double bass, and drums. And the drums were played with a broomstick.
Oh,
Um,
I love it. I mean, this is where you go. This is where you go for information like this
Unreal,
with a
but
broomstick.
with a broomstick, yeah.
There is a kind of there's a kind of lounge quality to the instrumentation. It's the kind of thing that you might imagine you stumble into a club late at night and they're kind of going through the paces a little bit. But yeah, little
Um,
tinkling of the ivories.
yeah. Let me just ask you. All right. Um, give me 5 artists that you would guess covered this.
All right. Frank Sinatra.
Surprisingly not, but a good guess.
Oh God. Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson, also a good guess, also not.
Well, then I'm 0 for 2. So
But
what?
but
So
but everybody
uh,
else,
apparently,
Johnny Mathis,
oh
um,
yeah, of course.
Sammy Davis Jr., Tom
Sammy Davis.
Jones, Andy Williams. Um,
Oh, I mean, come on. That was I blew that. I
John,
suppose John Denver covered it on the
no,
and put it on the
no,
flip side of I'm sorry.
yeah,
Um,
no. But you have Bobby Vinton, Shirley Bassey, Lynn
oh, for
Anderson, Nina
Pete's sake.
Simone.
Well,
Um, there
well,
was a
yeah,
Gong Show. There was a Gong Show episode
yes, yeah.
in
I
which
did vaguely remember this.
every contestant sang the song.
I vaguely remember this. Yes. I mean,
Um,
this is so it was easy. It was a song easily parodied, right? I mean, it's
yes.
you could be a kid in Kansas in seventh grade and be singing "Feelings" down the hall, and people snicker. Yeah.
In a 1990 Pepsi commercial, MC Hammer sings "Feelings" instead of "You Can't Touch This" when given a non-Pepsi drink. Um, so again, parody. Um, Julie Andrews stated during a lecture at the Chautauqua Institution
Oh yes.
that she considered the song too difficult to sing because it had no meaning behind it.
Well, that seems a little harsh,
Well, but think about it.
Julie.
It does. Yeah, I get that. There really is not. Oh,
Julie Andrews, Doa deer, a female deer. Julie Andrews.
oh, yeah. All right, all right. Um,
When she's taking a shot at feelings. All right.
and rightly so.
Oh,
The interesting
okay.
part about this is that the the song now lists as its authors Maurice Albert and Louis Gastet.
Louis Gastet. What about this Louis Gastet figure you
Louis
mentioned?
Gastet wrote the song Pour Toi. And
Poitois. I love that.
this is and, and he sued for plagiarism.
Well, somehow I knew that you were getting to this. Yeah, of course.
It's a 1957 French song. The court said yes, it is plagiarism. 88% of the songs uh,
Morris.
credit goes to him, and so
88?
88%. So Albert had to pay 500,000 in damages, and Gastet had to be listed as a co-writer from that point on.
Well, I'd say that Morris Albert got off lucky then.
Luckier than Men at Work, for instance.
Or yeah, well, we'll someday get to that. That's a travesty. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's it is a remarkably popular, I guess that's the word, memorable. I mean, it's just one of those songs that comes from this era, a little bit like Bad Blood, but when it just comes from this era, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, that's mid 70s. That's Morris
Yeah,
Albert. It's
yeah,
unmistakable.
I remember enjoying it. Um, I I have a hard time remembering why. Um, it,
Well, those memories are too painful, Dave. I understand.
it just
Same for me.
it seems really innocuous.
Oh well, yeah. But I just remember as a kid that we would make fun of it, and we would like be shooting baskets and stuff, and then suddenly break into the chorus of feelings. I mean, it just begged for parody, even from smarmy 12-year-olds.
So let's listen to
Oh, only if we must. So here we go. Morris Albert's feelings.
Feelings. Feelings like I've never lost you. And feelings like I've never have you. Again in my heart.
Here we go.
Feelings. For all my life I'll feel wish I'd never met you, girl. You'll never come again.
Oh, we're both going to need a moment to compose ourselves, but
Yeah,
there
let
we
me
have.
just real quickly. We said that this was a song that people love to hate.
Yeah.
The Australian author Colin Bowles considered the song, quote, a crime against humanity, end quote. That was in from
Well,
his
that's a
2008
that's
book, I've Been Flushed from the Bathroom of Your Heart, in which he listed it among the 100 worst songs in the world. And that's just one example of many.
well, I think wait a second. What's that? We just have a we've just heard from my dingaling who would like to like a word with the author. I mean, crime against humanity seems a little overstated, but
It does. It does.
it's schmaltzy capital schmaltz. There we go. So God, at number seven, it's feelings. We'll get back to the hit parade in a second. A couple of news items from October of 75. A big news item coming from the federal courts, and that is that one John Winston uh, Ono Lennon as his green card. And so the case was finally settled. I believe it was a 2-1 decision, but the became a was on his on the way to becoming a naturalized citizen. But he got the green card. This was a long fight. He had, of course, found himself against the Nixon administration for a time, who had targeted him. Imagine a presidential administration targeting individuals. It's just
That's just
shocking.
seems so absurd.
It's just
Yes.
but there we have it. He, of course, we can see by the image here, has reconnected with Yoko. The long weekend is over, and he will now enter a period of relative isolation, becoming a house husband of sorts, and will only emerge as a performer in the very late 70s, with the Double Fantasy album. But it's I think this was covered very closely in the United States, and there was a tremendous wellspring of support for Lennon, that came, I think, in part from his time as a Beatle. I mean, of course, but also I think the genuine unfairness of the government's case to target an individual, largely based upon his political activities.
Well, and we talked about Neil Sedaka earlier today.
That's right. Yeah,
He was one of the big supporters.
he was a big champion of this, and the song "The Immigrant," which we talked about in an earlier episode, definitely uh, definitely is in Lennon's camp. Also, in October of 75, we are having a big change at the service academies, and fascinatingly, a half a century later, we're revisiting this issue bizarrely. But for the first time, women are admitted to the service academies, and so this is this is a big moment for the military, and I think for women, for the country overall. It is the case that the military has always been, or often been, in front in the measure of social change. Um, and things happen in the military before they happen in the larger society. And I think, well, I think to a degree that you see that happening in the militaries with the service academies and opening them up to women cadets and plebes and the like. Um, it's we're still right in the 70s, mid 70s, in the midst of a attempt to pass the Equal Rights Amendment. But there does definitely feels, Dave, I think, a moment that something has changed in that larger culture,
The moment
and
has
that women,
passed. Um,
I
for at least if we're talking about the ERA,
yeah,
the high water mark there
was
was so close, but
but that's absolutely true. But I definitely think that there is this sense that there are the glass ceiling is being sort of chipped away.
well,
Now I'm
yes.
not.
Look at Virginia Slims, for
Oh,
instance.
geez.
No, no,
Yikes.
seriously. No, I absolutely. This is happening. Um, and one of the things that we see uh, more later on, but it started in the 70s, is the blatant misogyny that
Oh,
everybody was getting
just,
away with.
oh,
Just
yeah.
it was no longer possible in
It,
that crass form. So this was the beginning of putting the brakes on that part of our society.
I think that that's, I mean, the egregious, blatant misogyny as you're talking about, I definitely think it just didn't play, it just didn't play like it used to, right? There was something about it that just seemed kind of unseemly. And so we were moving past that. Um, yeah, I don't want to over sell this service academy thing, but it definitely was a huge moment. And you did have then women in positions of leadership in the U.S. military, and have had really women in positions of leadership for the past half century, and significant. I mean, it's significant, and obviously the military is a very big deal in the United States, world's largest military, all of that. A place for women for the first time. All right, so we'll get back to a couple of other headline things in a moment. At number 8, we're going to have to bid Helen Reddy adieu after this. It's Helen Reddy's Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady. It is this a bookend to I Am Woman? Uh, maybe, maybe. So this is a song that will peak at number 8 for Reddy. This will be her final top 10 hit in the United States. I just okay. Let's all right to give Reddy her due. In a 4-year period from 1971 to 1975, that's 13 top 40 songs. Within that, then you have 6 top 10 songs and three count them number ones. She was a huge figure in this era. She is in the midst of it's 1975. She's in the midst of a kind of long time hosting gig of the Midnight Special, which was really high profile. That show that aired on NBC late nights on it was on Fridays. It was a big deal in an era where you just didn't see rock acts. There you have Helen Reddy in a hosting role. Um,
She was on television all over the place
she
anyway.
she she definitely was,
Just
Dave.
any
I think
variety show, every second one had Helen Reddy on
there are lists of plenty, of course, on the internet about this, and it is you actually have a hard time counting how many times she's on television, stars on starring on variety shows, showing up on chat shows. You can
She
say
was
I
probably
think you
on
can.
Love Boat, wasn't she?
I think she was. Yes, she definitely was on Love Boat. I mean, I think she was on some level kind of overexposed in this way. I mean, I just think it was overload for an American audience. But it's and she's also then drifting into acting. Oh God, I do have to mention this. In 1975, she does appear in Airport 75 as the nun,
I forgot.
um,
Oh yes,
a
yes.
kind of singing nun. Apologies to Sally Field. And she
That
will
was
also
also
oh
parodied in
oh
Airplane
an airplane. And
rather
also I remember
brutally.
this is oh my God, that's right. And also in Mad Magazine quite brutally as well. It's also the case that she's one of the unfortunate few that make her way into the Sergeant Pepper's project in a couple of years, the ill-fated.
Yeah.
Woohoo. But
Was she in the Towering Inferno? It seems like she was in one of these disasters.
she might have been. I don't have
Or
that in
maybe it
front of
was
me.
just Airport. Maybe
I
I
mean,
just
it's she it's it is the case that she becomes a kind of brand. And I definitely think that her strength was her voice, and the hits dried up. But it was quite a run there for the 4-year run. Now the song is penned by a woman named Harriet Schock, who saw this as really kind of her big achievement as a songwriter. And this was a big hit for Schock. It was drawn from a kind of an experience in a relationship that she then was able then to well, then to manifest into a song which has feminist overtones. You know, that ain't no way to treat a lady, treat your baby, your woman, your friend. And the last line of the song it ends with, maybe this is a way for us to end. I mean, there is a sense of empowerment here and being able to have the strength to walk away from a an ill-fitting relationship. There is something there that's meaningful. But this is it for Reddy. The she will we won't be have a chance to talk about her music career really at any point for the rest of the 70s. But a fond farewell to Miss Reddy. And so with that, we will listen to a cut from Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady. And I am going to work hard not to cry a little. Here we go.
That ain't no way to treat a lady, no way to treat your baby, your woman, your friend. That ain't no way to treat a lady, no way. But maybe it's a way for us to end.
Oh, be strong. Let's just be strong together. There we go. So Helen Reddy at number 8 with Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady. At number 9, it's the Spinners. They're so awesome. So, talk about kind of campy though. This is kind of a wacky song in a way, and that is games people play. They just can't stop it. The games people play. Man, this is a wild song at number 9, the Spinners.
Well, if you're talking about campy and wild, I think of the Rubber Band Man.
Well, that's pretty campy and wild. There's no doubt about that.
Love that one to pieces. But all right, right now we're talking about this number 9 games people play. This is from the Pick of the Litter, their 6th studio album, released in August '75 on the Atlantic label, produced by Tom Bell, of course,
Yeah, of course.
who Atlantic wisely put in charge of the Spinners when they left Motown and went to Atlantic. Tom Bell seemed like the right producer, and of course, uh, the Spinners were not working for Philadelphia um, International, but they were making the Philly Soul, and they were recording this at the Sigma Sound Studios.
Yeah, they were Sigma. They were Sigma Sound. Yeah, that's right.
So basically, it's the same. They might as well have been with Philadelphia International, right?
Well, it's funny, in getting ready for this episode, I had just in my head thought that they were in fact a Philly International
I did too.
act.
Yeah, I did
And
too.
it's like, and they're Atlantic, but yeah, but right, but Tom Bell, all that, right?
Tom
It
Bell
makes sense.
and the uh, instrumentation was MFSB, of
Of
course.
course.
The background singers, the Sweethearts
Yep.
of Sigma, Barbara
Yeah.
Ingram, Carla Benson, and Yvette Benton. Um, it was actually Benton, in fact, who that does the sultry female vocal
Oh, and
on this.
it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah, the she emerges from the shadows. I mean, she's a background singer in name only. I mean, she's really she deserved equal billing, frankly, with the Spinners.
Well, and Ingram, just a footnote to a song that we talked about a couple episodes ago, provided the background sound for
Oh,
Major
oh,
Harris' "Love
oh
Will Never
no.
Wait."
Well, okay.
That was
Well,
Barbara Ingram
oh,
of the Sweethearts.
that is that's oh my.
Oh my!
Okay. Oh goodness.
So
Oh,
uh,
I'm sorry. I've lost. Okay, go ahead. Please continue. I've lost my train of thought here.
anyway, so it's the same studio, the same session players, the same background people, and the same producer. And it's clearly what the Spinners need. And it's interesting
Yeah.
because we talked about kind of a passing of the baton from the Motown of the 60s. Um,
I think that's the phrase. Yes.
Philadelphia International in the 70s, um, because the really powerful, interesting stuff is now coming out of Philadelphia instead of
I
Detroit.
think it's hard to argue. I mean, I think is it the case that Motown has moved um, to LA? Barry Gordy is, I mean, I think candidly distracted. Um, he's getting involved in film, and what's happening in Philadelphia is, yeah, they're cooking. They're on all cylinders. Yeah, no question. Passing of the
Um,
baton is the right phrase.
so Pick of the Litter generally considered the last of a quartet of Bell-produced studio albums that they put out between 73 and 75. Um, and a lot of people consider maybe their best album, Pick of the
Hmm.
Litter being a
Okay.
fairly apt title.
Yeah.
It's the highest placing album in the Billboard 200, reached number 8. But it was also the group's first Atlantic album to miss the top of the R&B album chart, where it peaked at number 2.
Th- hmm. Well, I mean, number two. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
right.
it's a miss, but it's yeah.
Yeah, not something you're going to cry about. Um, Anyway, it was a crossover success. Spent a week at number 1 on the U.S. Hot Sold Singles Chart. Peaked at number 5 at the Billboard Hot 100, and U.S. Cashbox um, had it at number 2. In fact, so
Yeah.
I just God, it's the Spinners. It's 1970. What? It's
Well,
it's as good as you would expect it to be.
yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, they are a reliable group in terms of turning out the hits. And this is right up there. This is fantastic song.
Let's listen in.
Let's do it.
Games people play, night or day, they're just not matching what they should do. Keep me feeling blue. Been down too long, right, wrong, I just can't stop it. Spending all day, thinking just of you.
All right, there we go. The Spinners, formerly the Detroit Spinners, with Games People Play. At number 10, we have the Four Seasons with Who Loves You. The Four Seasons are in the midst of a kind of rebound. They were a feature on the pop charts for about 10 years, late 50s into the early 60s. And then there is an extended fallow period. They hadn't had a hit in the United States, a top 10 hit in the United States since 1967 with Come On, Marianne. But boy, they're roaring back now with a song that is, well, it's power pop. I think that's the safest way to describe it. It's penned by Bob Gaito and Judy Parker, and Who Loves You is, well, it is a reintroduction to many people, or maybe an introduction to many people, of the Four Seasons. It is different in that Frankie Valli is sharing lead with Bob Ciccone, but together they are delivering, I think it's something akin to a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it's
It's heavily
fantastic. Yeah, it's
it's a heavily
fantastic.
it's a heavily produced number, but it's something. And this year, 75 into 76 will be an enormous year for the Four Seasons because here in a few weeks, then the December 1963 will be released, which will, oh, what a night, which will be a skyrocket. And interestingly, so you have this moment in 75 and 76 where the Four Seasons are, I mean, they're really hot, and then they just vanish again. And so we will not ever hear from them on the pop charts after this kind of flurry of
The
activity.
Four Seasons, no but Frankie Valli still.
Well, we do. We hear a little bit from Frankie Valli with the Grease
Grease.
soundtrack.
That's the
Oh, of
word.
course, Grease. Well, Grease is the word. The the Judy Parker Guaido partnership is a productive one. They pen both "Who Loves You" and December '63. Oh, what a night! A lot of scuttlebutt surrounding the origin of that December '63 song, which we'll talk about soon enough. Parker's presence, I think, though, was controversial amongst the band members, and actually forced one band member, as the story goes, to leave. This is I don't know the nature of the discomfort, but she was a new presence, and I don't know that she was necessarily appreciated by all. The Four Seasons had been a unit for a long time. It's also a kind of commercial enterprise, and this actually is described in some detail in the Jersey Boys play or musical and movie. But Gaida and Valley own the Four Seasons, and
Oh,
the rest
interesting.
of the rest of the seasons are employees and have had long been employees. And
So was she micromanaging or we don't know. We don't
it's
know.
unclear. It really is unclear. But it was always a sort of an interesting relationship, and it was not. I don't think it was as it ever appeared. But you have this really interesting song. It will peak at number 3 on the pop charts and number 7 on the adult contemporary charts. And it does speak to a kind of a revival of Four Seasons music. And so suddenly, right, you hear Four Seasons music on American radio again. And so I think it would be worthwhile just to take a listen. And
Oh yeah.
we're going to listen to the segment, which I think is really interesting, where this power pop really kicks into gear. Again, heavily produced number, but in its own way, it kind of rocks. Here we go.
Come to me, baby, you'll see.
It's fantastic.
Oh man.
It's just
Yeah.
fantastic. And this for me is peak Four Seasons. I know it's an outlier. I know all that, but this song is just
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
outstanding. It's outstanding.
Yeah.
So that was the top 10 from mid-October of 75. We want to cherry pick one song from the top 40. And in our mind, I think it's quite an important song, and it's a very interesting moment for this particular performer. So at at number 28, we have Bruce Springsteen with Born to Run.
Indeed.
Yeah, yeah. So it's Springsteen is getting a lot of attention, right? A lot of attention in the United States at this particular moment, October 75. And it's largely because he appears on the covers of both Time and Newsweek at the same time. Now, again, Time and Newsweek, Dave, if it's 1975, can you just talk briefly about the importance of these particular publications and appearing on the cover? So what might this signify in terms of a kind of maybe cultural moment?
Well, of course you had the Time Man of the Year sort of thing, and what you get from week to week with Time is the person of the moment, uh,
Right. I think that's right.
the
Yeah.
man of the moment, right, or the person of the moment is still largely men, but um, Time and Newsweek were. eh, mm, I don't know, still are to a certain extent, but they certainly were back then. The two mass news weeklies in
Yes.
America, and
Yes.
generally speaking, you would get one or the other. Time was a little bit more conservative. Newsweek was a little bit more on the liberal side, but those were really nuances, actually.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
And the fact that they both have Springsteen.
Well, this is the thing that they both have Springsteen on the cover same week. It's a simultaneous situation. It's largely unprecedented. I mean, you'd had political figures, historical figures, big events. They would make be a splashy cover on both. But in this, I mean, Springsteen's an unknown. I mean, he's largely unknown. His first two albums were not big sellers. There was some critical praise, but he
There was
was
actually a fairly large groundswell of critical attention for his
oh,
first two, for his first two
I think
albums.
he was a kind of critic's darling, in fact.
Yeah,
But
and all sorts of critics thought that they were just discovering the next big thing,
well,
and
yeah, I mean,
and they kind
I
of
think you're
were.
right.
But
Well, as it turned out, yeah.
yeah, the buying audience was just lukewarm at
This is,
best.
I think that is exactly it. And so this gets to 75. And so I remember we were a Time family. And so I remember going to the mailbox and getting the magazine out of the mailbox. And I'm a little unusual, but I really did enjoy these. I would read Time from cover to cover. That's no joke. It and looking at it and not figuring, I just couldn't figure out who the hell this was, right? I just didn't, Bruce Springsteen didn't mean anything to me. But from my perspective, right, what I knew about Time was that if that person's on the cover, that person's important on some level. And so it wouldn't take me very long to kind of get up to speed with this. But
That's a
this
nice
was, I
portrait,
mean,
I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It is, it's
Hey,
almost
take a
indescribable.
look at that portrait, and then and now take a look at me.
Well, I can, it's uncanny.
Right?
It's uncanny. This few things boosted Springsteen's career like this moment. Now there was a sense that he had something to live up to, but he suddenly became a conversation piece in homes around the around the country, and I mean from here, right? It's just, I mean, it's nowhere but up. It largely coincides, right, with the Born to Run album, which I think there was real interest in and real hope for, right, that there would be something that would break big for Springsteen. So Springsteen's never a huge singles artist until really the 80s, and the Born in the USA album sort of he becomes a kind of pop star. But there are hits that are emerging from these LPs from the 70s, and at 28, it's Born to Run, which I guess is, if there is a Springsteen song that is going to be remembered, it's
Yeah, if
this
there's
one.
it's a Springsteen standard, then this is it.
Yeah, standard. Yeah, this is it.
Um, and it just broke into the top 40, uh, and so we didn't know anything about the guy, and now
Yeah, that's right.
um, it's going to take a little while before we really become aware of who he is. But this song plays a huge role in that. And I think going into this, the band and Springsteen himself realized they needed something to kick things open because the first two studio albums,
Oh, agreed.
Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey, and The Wild, the Innocent, and the East Street Shuffle, were opening some critics' eyes, but were being ignored by the public at large. So this, his third studio album, was released on August 25th through Columbia. He wrote the song himself, of course, and it was produced by Springsteen and Mike Apple, who I believe was his
Well,
agent at the time,
yes,
right?
manager, and they had a very acrimonious split, and eventually would kind of sort of patch things up. But yeah, his manager.
But this song, Born to Run, was recorded from January 8th through August 6th, 1974. on January 8th, Springsteen met with Apple, with Clarence
Yeah.
Clemens, and with the rest of the band um, at the 914 Sound Studios, Blauvelt, New York.
Mhm.
And they would rehearse two new compositions, Jungle Land and Born to Run, and
Ooh.
neither of which had lyrics at that point. So he was continuing to work on the lyrics, work on the songs back home, um, and the original backing track for Born to Run was recorded May 21st, 1974.
Okay.
Now, the thing about this is um, they were recording a lot of things. Uh, Springsteen was going for kind of a wall of sound sort of thing. The difference is when
Yeah.
Phil Spencer creates a wall of sound, he gets 30 session musicians into the studio to do their thing,
Well, that's right.
and they kick that out in an afternoon.
I mean, largely, yeah, they're cheek to jowl in a studio, and right, they do yeah, they get it
And,
done.
and he gets a wall of sound. But this wasn't session musicians. These were guys, for the most part, like Springsteen, grew up and taught themselves in garage bands how to play their instruments and how to create music. So they were in the studio and they were, it wasn't the first album that they had created, but it's the first real thing where
I think
uh,
this is right.
a wall of sound was created. And they did that by take after take of different things. The vocals were recorded on June 26th. Um, there were 72 tracks that had to be mixed on 16 available tracks, including strings, more than a dozen guitar tracks, sax, drums, glockenspiel,
Yeah, the
bass,
Glockenspiel of Federici. Yeah.
multiple keyboards, and a variety of voices, of course. Um, the core instrumental backing track, which had been re-recorded, was mixed along with numerous test arrangements, the backing vocals, double tracked vocals, strings, and so on and so forth. So they built a wall of sound basically one element at a time and brought that all together.
Yeah.
Um, and the result was impressive. Listening to that, it was really fairly overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a tidal wave. Yeah.
And when it came out, it was released August 25th. It got extensive airplay on progressive and album-oriented radio,
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a key point. Yeah.
and it peaked at number 23 on the top 40. Of course, critics were already hanging and waiting for the next album. DJs knew Springsteen; they were waiting for his stuff. This came out, they loved it, and they were playing it. So this really became his first hit of any
This is
nature at all.
absolute right.
Um, Robert Christgau said took note of the Spectre influence, and he said that Born to Run was quote the fulfillment of everything "Be My Baby" was about, and lots more end quote. So
Yeah.
big praise from a big critic.
Yeah.
And uh, it has remained a well-loved song, ranked number 27 on Rolling Stone's 2021 list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. That's Springsteen's highest placement on that list, by the way. Um, and
Yeah.
in 1980, uh, the New Jersey State Assembly passed a resolution naming Born to Run the unofficial rock theme of our state's youth. Uh, it failed to pass the Senate, but that's because some of the lyrics were
Well,
about getting out of New Jersey. So
that's right.
that
Well,
might
not
not
yeah.
be.
Well, and nothing set rock and roll like an endorsement from a legislative body.
Why do you need to pass a resolution about an unofficial rock theme. Are you not making it official in that moment? It seems strange, but okay. Everybody's trying to get on the
Yeah.
you know. And,
Well,
um, 2016, Born to Run was ranked number 16 in Pitchfork's list of the 200 best songs of the 70s. Number 6 in WXPN's list of the 885 all-time greatest songs. Came in number 920 in Q's list of the 1,001 greatest songs ever, 2003. And they described the song as, quote, the best for working class heroes. Let's
hmm.
let's talk a little bit about that
Okay.
because this song, I think, is an anthem that embodies um, the American character in late
Okay.
20th century expression,
No.
maybe
Wow.
better than any other. Born to Run. The idea
Okay.
we land somewhere,
Mhm.
but any place else is better. We need
Any place
we
else.
need we need
Yes.
to, we need to get out of here. And
It's the American story. Yeah.
just the idea mobility is mobility is freedom. We 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 feel free to the extent that we're
Well,
able
that's
to
right.
leave wherever we're at and go somewhere better if we feel in this
It's
necessity.
almost, yeah, it's an innate sense in us that in fact we are born to run. Someplace else is better, and we that there's something on that horizon that's there for both of us.
And
Yeah.
whatever we have here, it's just not it's not as good as what we're going to get somewhere else. We need to get out and find our place.
I think that's yeah, I think that's well said. I mean, I definitely think that's well said. And I think Springsteen in his commentary over the years has more or less sort of, back that is, I think, a part of where this comes from. That he has that sense inside him.
And just for me personally, the first two albums had a lot of pretentious nonsense uh, uh, of Bruce Springsteen trying to follow in Bob Dylan's footsteps.
Well, they were both signed by John Hammond, weren't they, or something like that? So, I mean, right. I mean,
Yeah,
at Columbia, I mean, it would be hard not to.
but this idea there were lyrics there and songs there where you're just like, okay, yeah, it's just a little bit trying too hard. This
Yeah.
song
Yeah,
this
trying
song
too
is the
hard.
first one that really worked for me on a lyrical level. And he goes on to be one of the great songwriters of the 20th century. Um, this was the first one that really worked as far as
Okay. I don't think this is even the best song on the album, but I do think that I do think it's obviously a powerful number. I think that it really comes alive in a concert setting and has become a kind of centerpiece for, oh, I don't know, half century for Springsteen. Um,
well, okay, just
yeah, I mean
because you bring
it's a terrific number,
because you
but
bring it up. Um, what do you think is the best number on
oh,
the?
it's Jungle Land.
Oh, really?
Oh, 100%. Jungle Land leaves this in the dust, but I mean that's fine. I mean it's fine. I'm not here to degrade Born to Run. I'm here. I mean that's it's a marvelous number. I think it's an important number. It is the song that Springsteen will be remembered for. I don't think there's any question about that. Um, and it is a number that is. I mean, right? I mean, who covers Born to Run? I mean, that'd be nuts. This is a singular effort, right? This
Yeah,
is not the kind
yeah,
of, I mean, it's just not the kind of thing that other artists, I'm sure some have tried. You can't even approach this.
yeah.
You just can't approach it. And he does bring so much to it that is, it's an incredible number. And it is, you just really feel, I think you're suggesting that you're getting a glimpse inside him. I mean, it's very convincing in that way.
And while there may be one song on the album that is better, maybe
Well,
it's not
I
Jungle.
might, I
It's
might.
It's She's the One.
Oh, come. Wow, that's interesting. Wow, we are putting our cards on the table here. I mean,
Sure.
I think it's okay, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, I think so. This is the album where Bruce Springsteen starts to become Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
I think it's also the album where starts to lean very heavily on this talented group of musicians, become known as the E Street Band. Um,
Has a great
this
cover.
it has a great cover.
For what it's worth. That I think is one of the iconic rock album
It's
covers.
I mean, there's this whole great tradition. Right? The producer Jimmy Iovine always talks about the third album being so important in an artist's career. Iovine, who famously worked with Tom Petty on the Damn the Torpedoes
Down the
album.
Torpedoes, his third album, right?
But you talk about third albums, and there's a pretty grand tradition of this. And I mean, it is clearly the case with Springsteen. I mean, who knows what would have happened to Springsteen had this particular album or this song or both kind of tanked.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And so there was a lot riding on this, which also I think you can kind of there's a certain kind of energy and I mean, letting it all hang out kind of deal with this entire album, particularly this song, but the entire album they're not holding anything back because I mean this is it.
Well, and you get a sense that they really understood that they worked on the thing for half a year. All right,
Well,
that says
it
something about their
it
sense.
does. It really does, Dave. Doesn't it sort of sound like it? I mean, doesn't it sort of sound like it's a kind of song that has been labored over for a long time? You talk about all these different tracks and the overdubs. And, I mean, you can it's not exactly seamless, but the energy it's palpable. It's it's frenetic. It's you just can't turn away from it. But it is a kind of I mean, you can almost sort of see the where they welded it together.
Well, it's a homegrown organic wall of sound. That's a labor of love,
Yeah,
right?
that's well,
There's no
yeah,
way you can get that
yeah.
together without
Well,
really
that's
really
a really
working.
good point. And I think the wall of sound works here.
Oh, I do
I
too.
think
Yeah,
you and I are not necessarily the biggest fans of the wall of sound, but I do think that it's effective here. So I think that Springsteen and Apple made a pretty good choice. But yeah, this is it. This is the song.
and will always be among my favorites of his. But
There we go.
let's
All right,
listen in.
let's listen to a little bit as we buckle our seatbelts. It is Springsteen's "Born to Run."
The highway's jammed with broken heroes on a last chance power drive. Well, everybody's out on the run tonight, but there's no place left to hide. Together, Wendy, we can live with the sadness. I'll love you with all the madness in my soul. Oh, someday, girl, I don't know when we're gonna get to that place where we really wanna go and we'll walk in the sun. But till then, chance like us, baby, we were born to run. Honey, chance like us, baby, we were born to run. Come on with me, chance like us, baby, we were born to run.
All right, there it is.
Oh man,
From the boss to the world, unbelievable. And so that's October of 1975. Dave, take us home, please.
you bet. Um, if you enjoyed this video, we hope you did. Give us a thumbs up. We'd also love to hear what you think about any of it and all of it. Leave a comment for us. We read everything that you write, and we'll try to respond.
That we did.
In addition, if you have not yet subscribed to Stephen Daves, you can do that right here. You can listen to our playlist. Absolutely great stuff this month right here. And you can watch another Stephen Daves 50 years ago this month right up here.
And there are a lot of them to watch. Keep in mind, too, that we include a reading list each month. So you want to dig a little deeper about some of the topics that we talked about, you can do it, get started with it on that reading list. And also, right, we're on BlueSky every day posting new content about pop culture, electoral politics from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, lots of stuff. And so until next time, we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.